Hey Midnights! We hope you enjoy our stories. Next one, unraveling the mysteries and challenges of missing persons in U.S. national parks. Don't forget to subscribe. The vast and breathtaking landscapes of the United States national parks are revered for their natural beauty, offering solace, adventure, and a profound connection to the wild. Yet, beneath their majestic facade, these expansive wildernesses harbor complex challenges, from environmental threats to the persistent, chilling mystery of missing persons. While millions flock to experience the parks annually, a disturbing number vanish without a trace, leaving behind a wake of unanswered questions and ongoing grief for their loved ones. One of the most pressing issues facing U.S. national parks is staffing shortages and underfunding. Reports indicate that the National Park Service, NPS, is operating with its lowest staffing levels in modern history. As noted by Kristen Brengel, Senior Vice President of Government Affairs for the National Parks Conservation Association, the NPS has seen a significant reduction in staff since 2010, a situation further exacerbated by recent budget cuts and hiring freezes. This reduction in personnel directly impacts critical areas such as visitor safety, maintenance, resource protection, and, significantly, search and rescue (SAR) operations. Fewer rangers mean delayed emergency response times and inadequate preventative measures, putting visitors at greater risk and making the already arduous task of locating a missing person even more challenging. The strain on resources is palpable, leading to reduced visitor center hours, uncleaned facilities, and less oversight of vast, remote areas. Beyond staffing, the parks contend with a myriad of environmental threats. Climate change is altering ecosystems, impacting wildlife habitats, and increasing the frequency and intensity of wildfires. Invasive species pose a significant risk to biodiversity, outcompeting native flora and fauna and disrupting delicate ecological balances. Furthermore, the push for fossil fuel extraction and other extractive industries on lands adjacent to, or even within, park boundaries threatens air and water quality, disrupts migration routes, and engenders vulnerable species. These environmental pressures not only degrade the natural integrity of the parks but can also contribute to dangerous conditions for visitors, such as unpredictable weather patterns or compromised trails. However, it is the unsettling phenomenon of missing persons that casts a particularly dark shadow over the parks. While many disappearances are resolved with the individuals being found, a significant number remain cold cases, with individuals vanishing into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Approximately 1,000 individuals are reported missing in national parks each year. The raw numbers are stark. Grand Canyon National Park, for instance, holds the somber distinction of having the highest number of missing persons and fatalities. Records from the U.S. Department of Interior indicate over 1,100 confirmed missing persons reports were filed between February 2018 and June 2023 alone in the Grand Canyon. Great Smoky Mountains National Park, between 1944 and 2010, has documented over 1,600 missing persons cases. Yosemite National Park has seen a disturbing number of missing persons cases, with some reports indicating 40 to 45 cases annually, contributing to one of the largest clusters globally. Other parks like Lake Mead National Recreation Area, Rocky Mountain National Park, which had 165 search and rescue incidents in 2017, ranking third nationally, and Yellowstone National Park, which has at least 12 documented cases of individuals who have gone missing and not been found, also reports significant numbers of SAR incidents. These figures highlight the sheer scale of the challenge and the constant risk present in these vast, untamed areas. The narratives of those who disappear are often heartbreaking and perplexing, touching upon the fragility of human life against the backdrop of immense, unforgiving wilderness. While the general public might assume most disappearances are due to simple accidents, the reality is far more complex, often leading to prolonged, agonizing mysteries. Consider the case of Stacy Ann Harris, who vanished in Yosemite National Park in 1981 while on a hike. Despite extensive search efforts, no trace of her has ever been found, leaving her family in perpetual limbo. Similarly, Dennis Martin, an 8-year-old boy, went missing in Great Smoky Mountains National Park in 1969, triggering one of the largest search and rescue operations in the park's history, yet yielding no clues to his whereabouts. In Yellowstone National Park, Dan Campbell disappeared in 1991 while illegally hunting for elk antlers. Despite widespread searches, neither he nor his dog were ever found. The park has seen other mysterious disappearances, including Stuart Isaac in 2010 and Kim Crumbo in 2021, all of whom have yet to be located. While a definitive, centralized public database providing real-time, Comprehensive statistics on every missing person case in U.S. national parks, including precise age at disappearance and specific outcomes, is not readily available. General trends offer some insights into the demographics and circumstances of those who go missing. For instance, an analysis of NPS mortality data from 2014 to 2019 reveals that approximately 79% of all deaths in national parks during that period were male, which could be attributed to higher participation in riskier activities. However, for missing persons who were eventually found alive, a 2017 study indicated a more balanced distribution, with 54% being female and 46% male. While individuals of all ages go missing, certain age groups appear to be at higher risk. NPS search and rescue data from 2017 showed that almost 20% of rescues involved people between the ages of 20 to 29, and 16% involved individuals over 60. This suggests that both younger, potentially more adventurous visitors and older, possibly more vulnerable individuals are more susceptible to becoming lost or needing rescue. Tragically, children have also disappeared, such as 6-year-old Dennis Martin in Great Smoky Mountains National Park in 1969 and 8-year-old Samuel Bulk in Crater Lake National Park in 2006, neither of whom were ever found. The majority of disappearances are ultimately attributed to accidental causes, with motor vehicle crashes, drownings, and falls being the top 3 leading causes of unintentional deaths in parks. Hikers can become lost or disoriented, leading to exposure to harsh weather conditions, hypothermia, or heat stroke. Drowning is a particularly significant cause of fatalities in parks with extensive water bodies, as seen in the Grand Canyon's Colorado River and Lake Mead National Recreation Area. Injuries sustained from falls, slips, or other accidents can incapacitate individuals in remote areas, making them vulnerable to the elements or preventing them from signaling for help. Sadly, some individuals enter national parks with the intent to disappear or end their lives, marking these as intentional disappearances or suicides, which are particularly challenging for search and rescue teams as the individual may actively avoid being found. While rare, instances of foul play have occurred, with the 1996 murders of Julie Williams and Lolly Winans in Shenandoah National Park serving as a grim reminder that criminal activity, though uncommon, is a possibility. Lastly, some cases present unusual circumstances, defying easy categorization, with individuals found far from their last known location, or remains appearing in previously searched areas, leading to persistent questions. Yet, even in the depths of despair, glimmers of hope can ignite. Consider the miraculous survival of Tanya Rider, who vanished in September 2007 near Mount Rainier National Park. Her car had plunged down a 200-foot embankment off State Highway 169, hidden from the winding mountain road. For 8 agonizing days, Tanya lay trapped, her body battered and fading, sustained only by a few sips of water from a leaky pipe and her sheer will to survive. Search teams scoured the popular trails, but her vehicle was completely obscured by the dense forest canopy. It was her husband, steadfast in his resolve, who relentlessly pressed for answers. He persuaded the cell phone company to ping her phone's last known location, a desperate measure that finally narrowed the search area. When rescuers descended the treacherous slope, they found her, weak and delirious, but alive. Her rescue was a testament to the enduring power of human connection, the tireless efforts of searchers, and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit against the unforgiving embrace of the wilderness. This dramatic discovery, while rare, offers a powerful counterpoint to the many unresolved mysteries. When a person goes missing in a national park, initial assumptions heavily influence search efforts. These are generally arrived at through lost person behavior, LPB, models, which are statistical analyses of past missing person incidents that predict likely travel patterns. The most fundamental assumption centers on the point last seen, PLS, and last known point, LKP, guiding intensive initial search efforts. Human factors lead to the assumption that the missing person may have made an error, guiding interviews and analysis of their experience and preparedness. Finally, environmental factors such as weather, terrain, and hazards dictate search techniques and urgency. These assumptions are formed from statistical data compiled by SAR agencies, the expert judgment and experience of park rangers, witness and companion interviews for crucial clues, and evidence on scene like footprints or dropped gear. While the sheer number of disappearances in U.S. national parks is undeniably tragic and often perplexing, the notion that these incidents represent an unusual or inexplicable phenomenon has garnered significant attention and debate. One of the most prominent and compelling voices advocating for the unusual phenomenon perspective is David Paulides, a former police officer and author of the widely read Missing 411 series of books and documentaries. Paulides' extensive research suggests that certain missing persons cases in national parks, and other wilderness areas, share specific, often baffling characteristics that seem to defy conventional explanations typically offered by search and rescue professionals. David Paulides has a professional background that includes 20 years in law enforcement, serving in various capacities including the Patrol Division, SWAT team, and as a court liaison officer for the San Jose Police Department. After his law enforcement career, Paulides transitioned into investigative writing, initially focusing on Bigfoot research and founding North America Bigfoot Search. His interest in missing persons cases in national parks reportedly began when an off-duty park ranger approached him with concerns about unusual disappearances within the parks. This encounter led Paulides to meticulously document and analyze these cases, asserting that he uncovered patterns suggesting a lack of understanding or transparency from the National Park Service regarding these incidents. Paulides' Missing 411 series highlights what he considers anomalous characteristics in these cases, such as individuals vanishing suddenly from secure locations, being found in incredibly difficult-to-access areas or previously searched zones, the puzzling absence of scent for search dogs, strange anomalies with clothing and gear, and recurring environmental factors like severe storms coinciding with disappearances. He also posits the existence of demographic and geographical clusters of these unusual cases within national parks. A key frustration for Paulides, which he argues impedes independent statistical analysis, is the historical lack of a centralized, comprehensive, publicly accessible database of missing persons cases by the NPS. The U.S. government, primarily through the National Park Service, NPS, and various federal law enforcement agencies like the FBI, in cases of suspected foul play, is the main entity with knowledge of missing persons in national parks. This knowledge is derived from official incident reports, search and rescue logs, ranger observations, witness testimonies, and forensic evidence when available. However, this information is often decentralized and not easily aggregated into a single, publicly accessible, real-time database. While the NPS does maintain internal records of SAR operations and missing persons reports to inform operational strategies and internal reviews, a comprehensive public list of all missing persons cases, particularly cold cases, is not readily available through a single, easily searchable portal. The NPS does provide a cold cases section on its investigative services branch website, listing some unresolved missing persons cases with brief details. The government also utilizes specialized resources, such as aerial surveillance and K-9 units, and partners with local and state emergency services to gather information during active searches. When cases involve potential criminal activity, the FBI takes jurisdiction and compiles its own investigative knowledge. Despite these efforts, the government's precise knowledge about each missing person case varies widely depending on the individual circumstances, the extent of the search efforts, and whether a resolution was achieved. The persistent cold cases represent the limits of this knowledge, where despite extensive resources, definitive answers remain elusive. Public statements from government agencies often reflect a commitment to ongoing efforts while acknowledging the immense challenges posed by the vast, rugged, and often unforgiving environments of national parks. National Park Service personnel, particularly rangers involved in search and rescue, consistently emphasize visitor preparedness and the inherent dangers of wilderness environments. They frequently highlight that many missing persons incidents stem from visitors underestimating the terrain, weather conditions, or their own abilities. Park rangers often reiterate the importance of knowing before you go, urging visitors to consult park alerts, understand weather forecasts, carry appropriate gear, and inform someone of their itinerary. They point out that a significant percentage of rescues involve individuals who are uninjured but simply unprepared or made unwise decisions. For instance, at Buffalo National River, more than 70% of rescues involve uninjured people who are simply unprepared and/or make unwise decisions. Drowning is also cited as a leading cause of death in some parks. While rangers acknowledge the challenges of vast and remote areas, their professional perspective tends to attribute disappearances to environmental factors, lack of preparedness, accidents, such as falls or medical emergencies, or intentional actions, rather than inexplicable phenomena. They often stress that while training and resources are crucial, ultimate safety rests on the individual visitor taking responsibility and making informed choices to prevent becoming a statistic. Paulides' approach involves meticulously documenting these individual cases and then highlighting the shared, peculiar characteristics. He argues that the sheer accumulation of these strange details, rather than any single anomaly, suggests that something fundamentally unexplained is occurring. His work, born from an initial tip from a national park ranger, aims to bring attention to these patterns, even if the underlying cause remains elusive. Conversely, many experts, including data scientists, wilderness search and rescue professionals, and skeptics, argue that while the individual stories are tragic, the disappearances are not statistically anomalous when viewed against the vastness of the parks and the millions of visitors. Their analyses are generally based on statistical frequency, acknowledging that a certain number of accidents are expected. They also emphasize the logic of wilderness behavior, where disorientation, panic, and environmental factors can lead to irrational actions and obscure evidence. Search limitations mean that even massive efforts can miss individuals in vast, challenging terrain. Critics of Paulides' work also suggest confirmation bias in his methodology, while often concluding that rational explanations such as falls, health crises, drowning, or exposure account for most cases. Regardless of one's stance on the nature of these disappearances, the compelling narratives uncovered by Paulides and others serve as a stark reminder of the unpredictable and unforgiving nature of wild spaces. The ongoing challenges in U.S. national parks, particularly the increasing number of missing persons and the difficulties in locating them, underscore a critical need for enhanced resources and visitor awareness. While the allure of the wilderness is undeniable, visitors must exercise extreme caution, prepare thoroughly, and adhere to safety guidelines. This includes informing someone of their itinerary, carrying essential emergency supplies, staying on marked trails, and being aware of the unpredictable nature of the wild. Only through a concerted effort of increased funding, robust staffing, and a responsible visitor culture can these national treasures continue to inspire awe while minimizing the tragic mysteries that sometimes unfold within their borders.